welcome back to Young Tripp Reactions. The next video we're going to do is the paramedics involved in the death of Elijah McClain. Their convictions have been tossed. Judge orders new trial. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. Also, if you have any videos that you run across that are high viral or whatnot that you feel that fit the channel, you can post it in my community tab or send it to me over through direct message on Instagram. Also, if you have any videos that you have personally over something personal that you have going on that you want awareness brought to, that are, high of an issue similar to what you see on my channel, send me a direct message over on Instagram and we can talk about it, about bringing awareness to whatever you may have going on. Also, follow me over on Instagram as well too, because I post over there as well too. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. And let's get into this.
One of the purest souls you will ever meet or would have ever met before they killed him, Elijah McClain. The paramedics who killed him had their convictions reversed. Here it is.
The family's attorney says McClain was walking home after buying iced tea from a corner store when this call about a suspicious person was made to the Aurora PD in Colorado. Three officers responded to the call. McClain is seen walking on the sidewalk when officers approach him.
Stop.
One officer is heard telling McClain to stop. Things escalate when McClain allegedly attempted to grab an officer's gun. The officers then subdue him to the ground and place him in a carotid control hold, a move that restricts blood flow to the brain. McClain begs for relief, even uttering those eerily too familiar words. First responders arrive shortly after and administer ketamine, an anesthetic meant to rapidly tranquilize.
It's standard protocol for the paramedics to inject ketamine.
McClain went into cardiac arrest on the way to the hospital, where he stayed 5 days before ultimately being taken off life support. A coroner determined his cause of death undetermined.
Colorado Court of Appeals, they have decided to overturn the conviction of those responsible for the death of Elijah McClain. Put up the picture full mass.
Put it up full mass.
I will give you the details as to what this means and what the remedy could be for prosecutors. We're talking about 6 years. 6 years after the death of Elijah McClain, the paramedics that were convicted in 2023, they were convicted of criminally negligent homicide. You have Peter Cichuniec, Jeremy Cooper. Both will be granted a retrial. The Colorado Court of Appeals on Thursday reversed the homicide conviction of these two paramedics from Aurora, charged in the 2019 death of Elijah McClain, and they have been ordered new trials. This has to do with jury instruction. I'm going to get into that in just a moment. On Thursday, the Colorado Court of Appeals ruled that the lower court failed to properly instruct jurors about the legal standard they should use when considering criminally negligent homicide as a charge. That's according to the court's published opinion. The appeals court said the court should have provided additional guidance after members of the jury told the court they were unsure how to apply that standard. Quote, by telling the juror to apply the common and ordinary meanings of the words in the instruction, the court failed to shine any light on the issue and, in fact, misled members of the jury as to the applicable standard of care. the proper standard wasn't that of a generic, reasonable person, but of a person in Cooper's profession under the existing circumstances. The appeals court wrote in its Cooper decision, these errors weren't harmless beyond a reasonable doubt. Now,
are you ready to feel good about your
advertisement,
body?
yeah. 1 moment.
LifeMD can help. Get started at lifemd.com.
We believe in the little things, which is why we're introducing women's True Western fragrance and jewelry by Montana silversmiths, carefully crafted to reflect the spirit and character.
our actual court wrote in its Cooper decision, these errors weren't harmless beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, I actually see this quite differently than the way the court ruled. One, typically, this is a common instruction to the jury. The common understanding, you are the finder of fact. You're not a lawyer. You're not a judge. The legalese and the statutory dynamics are not supposed to be a code to you. You are an everyday person and a finder of fact. Utilize the common understood language. Reasonable doubt means reasonable doubt, et cetera, et cetera.
And using your own common sense. You're not trying to do it based off of a lawyer or a prosecutor or a person like a homicide detective, a person like me who always wanted to be a homicide detective, or me wanting to be like, an attorney or things like that. You're looking at it as an everyday person. What you think about this. You are presented the evidence, and then you decide what you think about it. Let's continue.
So the element that the appeals court decided to get hung up on is this instruction about, the duty of care has to be comparable to the specific person involved or their profession, which in my opinion would mean you have a higher duty of care than the average human being. That means it's immaterial at this point. If you were judged to a lower standard of care, there's more. Both paramedics were tried together in a trial overseen by Adams County District Court Judge Mark Warner, but they filed their appeals separately. Because the appeals court agreed with Cooper's analysis, the panel said there was not a basis for treating the other paramedic differently. Quote, the two were tried on identical theories of guilt, and the evidence against them was, while not identical, sufficiently similar that we can't conclude that the errors were harmless. The court wrote this on behalf of the second convict. The irony of this is the court is acting like defense attorney. I mean, damn, you don't even have to file the proper motion in order to have the court grandfather you in because the other person that you were co-defendants with had a favorable ruling. That's insane.
So they just had it where, the other person the other paramedic didn't even have to file their own appeal. One of them filed an appeal, and they were both granted an appeal. So yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm like with Rashad. You're basically acting like you're a defense attorney for both of them, or at least the other one. Let's continue.
And the court even admitted their facts aren't actually the same, but we're going to conclude they are. Cooper, who had faced up to 3 years in prison, was sentenced to probation. His partner, 5 years in prison, which means substantially different responsibility. But later vacated that sentence after he served 10 months. He was then resentenced to 4 years probation. The jury also found Peter guilty of second-degree assault. The Court of Appeals upheld that conviction. But both paramedics determined that 500 milligrams of ketamine was the correct dosage to give McClain based on his weight, which Jeremy Cooper estimated to be 220 pounds. His partner estimated 187. McClain actually weighed only 143. September 2021, a grand jury indicted both paramedics, along with 3 Aurora police officers. Officer Randy Rodema was found guilty of criminally negligent homicide and third-degree assault. Former cop Jason Rosenblatt was acquitted on all charges. This was a joint trial, and Warner presided over those cases as well. The third officer indicted, Nathan Woodyard, was also acquitted of all charges. Grand jury, normative jury, judge, some people got found guilty, others not. Put them up.
Put it up for him, ass.
In response to Thursday's ruling, the Colorado Attorney General defended his office and their decision to send both cases to trial.
Advertisement. One moment, y'all.
Discover a spa designed to make everyday...
Saying in a statement to Denver 7 that it was, quote, the right thing to do for justice, for Elijah McClain, and for healing in the Aurora community. Now, this is a rare statement from a prosecutor after an appeal. Reaction. So in a statement Thursday, the Epitome of Black Excellence and Partnership, a nonprofit organization, said the decision by the state court, quote, will reverberate far beyond the courtroom. The reversal of convictions connected to the death of Elijah McClain is not merely a legal development for Black communities across Colorado and throughout this nation. It is the reopening of a wound that has never fully healed, end quote. A spokesperson for the organization wrote, quote, it is a reminder that even when evidence is seen, even when harm is acknowledged, even when the world bears witness to tragedy, accountability remains painfully fragile, end quote. Criminally negligent homicide eliminates criminal intent, basically. This is why their sentences were light compared to the fact that a completely innocent human being was killed. So criminally negligent homicide is already the light charge for murder, okay? The intent isn't part of the equation. Your negligence is in place of the intent. You didn't intend to do it, but you are a paramedic. You should have known better. You may not have formed mens rea, criminal intent to murder, or conspiracy or conspired with someone to commit an actual murder, but you either knew or should have known that these actions could have caused harm or death.
Absolutely. And so the charge actually fit. Let's continue.
All right. Senator, they won't allow this young man to have justice or peace, and the family now has to deal with this all over again. I hope the prosecutor brings charges back.
I do too, Doc. I mean, I was trying to stop from tearing up. I mean, just playing that video over again, and this is incredibly painful. And I agree with the organization Epitome of Black Excellence, the statement that they made that this reverberates well beyond the courtroom into the Black community, not just in Aurora, but all across the country. And even the paramedics just even watching that video, I mean, they came on the scene. To me, they kind of had the air of the police. Paramedics are supposed to come in differently. They're supposed to come in as caregivers. Now, I might be wrong, but that's the vibe that I picked up. This kind of Elijah didn't matter. They didn't care. I mean, I'm looking at this young man. When you read that the one paramedic thought he was over 200 pounds, I'm thinking, where? Where are you seeing 200 pounds? And then the other one, 187, and it turns out he's 140 something pounds. It just reminded me of how Black children on the reverse end, they're always considered older than what they really are. And they're treated in this world as older so that you don't have to give them the same mercy or the same grace that you would give another child. So we just elevate them up like that. But this is so destructive, so heartless. And your point about how the court is playing the role of the defense attorney here is just, I mean, this is just stunning. It's absolutely stunning. But in a way, I guess it's not. You know, one part of me wants to say this is stunning. I can't believe it. But the Blackness in me says this is just another day of being Black in America, even in death.
And this is why we fight. And this is why we expose darkness with truth, information, wisdom. Everyone can see how the justice system is bending itself into a pretzel in order to accommodate two individuals who were convicted. They had their day in court. They had their jury of peers. They went through a grand jury indictment proceeding and then a normative jury. We will bring you updates as they come. Like I said, I'm waiting for the prosecutor to say more than he stands by the initial trial. If he stands by the initial trial, he has to stand by the retrial because it's still in the interest of justice.
Advertisement, yeah. Yeah, I think they should just go ahead and retry the case. The prosecutor should just go ahead and bring back the charges and retry the whole thing again. I'm with Rashad. Just don't give a statement. Go ahead and start all over again. Because they were already convicted by peers, and that even makes it look like their work that they did was wrong, and the work that they did went unnoticed and unpunished. That, you know, based off of the sentence that they came up with, and that's a shame. Obviously, I remember this case. I think everybody does. I think the prosecutor should go ahead and bring the charges back. And I guess got to get ready to do the fight all over again. But just like the senator said, this is the way it's always had to be for us forever. And I guess it just continues to be when we want to believe that we're supposed to be continuing forward and moving forward, but we're not. It's like we're going backwards already. So, let me know what y'all think. I'll have the original video pinned at the top of the chat and a link in the description. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.